Good morning, allies. It is Thursday, August 29th. This is your Cup of Jones. Let me know if everything looks and sounds okay, and we will get on with it. I've been pushing. I pushed this episode back. I pushed last episode back. Lots of transitions going into bringing some new stuff for Phase 4, including revisions to Cup of Jones and Trailer Jones I'm currently working on with other people and for myself, adjusting the mic a lot. Good, we're on. We're ready. So yeah, apologies. The show's been bouncing around a lot. If everything goes well, I have hopes. I'm not making promises. I have hopes that we should be, but I'm not going to make the promise. Back on track for the foreseeable future. This Monday, back at regular time, Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, with some fun new surprises on Cup of Jones. But we are dabbling a little bit in the format today. I've included personal questions in the post, so we're only doing business questions, but I have answered personal questions. Some of these are older personal questions, some of these are new. Not a ton of them, so it seems like the audience has kind of picked up that my personal questions will not be answered in person, not be answered while we're on the stream. I will just kind of like a Q&A, like, hey, if you want to know more about Jones, here's a little personal information. But for people just tuning in, just discovering Easy Allies for the first time, watching Cup of Jones for the first time, they won't be like, this shows a lot of stuff at once. This is a business-focused show. We are here to do business. We're here to talk about Easy Allies, and there's a lot going on. This week was a great stream week. I mentioned it in the post that I put up earlier this week for Cup of Jones that this week is very emblematic of kind of what a typical Easy Allies week on twitch.tv/Easy Allies will look like moving forward. A lot of shows we were doing for the first time. Mana Day is coming back today with Ben, Brad, and Blood, playing Trials of Mana. Today at 5 p.m. Pacific time, I will start my first full playthrough of Pokemon Silver. It was and it's worth noting that, and I brought this up with Kyle, and we didn't confirm this, and I apologize. We're not going to call it Brandon Plays Pokemon Silver, because it isn't going to be the same format. When we did Brandon Plays Pokemon, the first series, that was Pokemon Red. I played that on the Game Boy. I played that myself and captured the footage myself, and then met with Kyle later, and we talked about it after the fact. It was like podcast format. And then we did the same for Pokemon Sun and Moon, which was a shorter run than Brandon Plays Pokemon. This will be Kyle and myself playing it. I actually brought it up with Kyle before I left the office the other day. I was like, am I going to be playing this 100%? And he's like, hell no, I want to play some of this. So Kyle and I will be handing off the controller. We'll be talking about it. We'll both be sharing the responsibility of naming Pokemon. So it isn't just Brandon Plays Pokemon. As much, I got Cup of Jones, I got Trailer Jones. I love the attention on myself. As much as I want it to be Brandon Plays Pokemon, it'll be something else. I think we're actually, maybe people can throw out Pokemon friends. People can throw out names. Maybe I should just keep a list here. Hold on a second, I'm moving the camera around. Oh, geez. Well, reset the camera. Okay. Oh, wait, no, get that friend. Okay. Maybe if anybody has good names, I'll write them in there. Anything silver-focused. I had a couple last night, but Pokemon Friends isn't bad. It's kind of funny. Calling Kyle and I friends is pushing it. But that'll be really fun. I actually... Kyle's putting together some custom graphics for it. I actually did something that I've never done before, ever, since we moved into the studio, that I put off for way too long and finally did, which is I made a couple of the windows. We have what Ian has dubbed magic windows. We have two TVs tilted to the side with some wood placed in front of them to make it look like, there is a view outside of our streaming room, something going on outside. Some of those images have been a little repetitive, and I have just never gotten around to actually producing those. But I made my first one. We've spruced them up. We've thrown a couple new ones at you lately, but I think we've been a little, admittedly, behind in that, focused on other things. And I have never actually taken the time to make one. And so now I have a project where I can just kind of copy paste stuff now if I want to make them. Of course, I want to do one for Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 5. There's a lot of windows that I want to make, but made one for Pokemon tonight. So we will fresh Mortis, fresh windows, fresh playthrough. It'll be a very fresh stream tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific time, twitch.tv/Easy Allies. Cup of Johto. Thank you for that. Pokemon Silver Fox. Very good. These are good. Poke Me Daddy. Thank you, Tokyo. Pokemon Uneasy Alliance. Let Kyle Drive. Should we just call it that? Let Kyle Drive. We are recording the podcast today. First time we recorded the podcast on Thursday. That is weird. It was weird going to the studio on Tuesday just for the group stream. And then when the group stream was over, I was like, Okay, bye. That was very strange. I don't have anything to edit tonight, I guess. I'm out. So it's going to be, for me, it's take a little while to get used to that schedule, but recording the podcast today, posting it for early access patrons tomorrow. Everyone else gets it on Sunday. Some people will be a big fan of that. Some people won't. That'll be an interesting transition moving forward. Kyle has said that he's totally open with going back to the old schedule or shifting things around, but, and I won't spoil it yet, but we had some fun gaming news drop yesterday, that we're like, hey, podcast on Thursdays. This is already working out. We can already talk about that tomorrow. We don't have to save it for next week. So hopefully that'll work out in the future, but we will see. And we will be recording that today. I'll be cutting that tonight. Got the podcast producer credits and everything all lined up for it. We have some new tech in the studio that I didn't talk about. 3 new items. One that is going to be installed and is on the way, but 2 of them we already have installed. One you will definitely not notice, and that's new tripods. We got new tripods for the studio stage, the main podcast desk stage, and that was something that we put off for a really long time. We had tripods. They were fine. They held cameras up. No big whoop, but we definitely wanted nicer ones, and it's tough to spend a couple $100 on something that you don't see at all. And if you go back, actually, I don't know if Blood posted it on his personal account. It might have just been on Easy Allies on Twitter, but he took a picture of the tripods. And I think mentioned hey, Phase 4 is starting. And I was like, there's a lot of stuff going on in that image, Blood. I'm not sure they're going to focus on the tripod specifically, but he was showing off our new tripods. We got new backlights that Ian picked up for the latest shoot of Mysterious Monsters. And of course, they've also benefited all of our podcasts and shows that we've shot since. You'll notice that mostly on the desk, on our shoulders, on the top of our heads, just a little bit of fill, a little bit going on, not just all of the lights pouring at us from one direction. And Ian took pictures of those, I believe he tweeted those out as well. So you can go see pictures of those on the Easy Allies account and on Ian's account, at Ian Hank. And our third and final thing, which should not surprise, but should hopefully make a lot of you happy because we've had a lot of criticisms about it in the past, specifically during E3. We had a couple of streaming hiccups, a couple internet hiccups, and we're getting brand new internet. We are getting not cheap internet. We are splurging. We are throwing some of that Twitch and YouTube money at the problem of just having the best internet we can possibly have. We shopped out to a lot of other companies. Kudos, huge shout out, tip of the hat to Mr. Ian Hank, who handled a lot of that business stuff. But we're going to be spending some money for people to come in, actually install better internet and then set that up. And then, hey, fingers crossed. We're working with an outside company. We shopped around to try to get the best deal that made the most sense for us. Hopefully all of that works out, but it is something we were doing. It is something we are investing in, and we will keep you. I mean, you on your end, you will probably know if the internet works quicker than we will. So let us know. We're also taking a pass to clean up the audio in the streaming room. The settings got a little wacky lately. We again just had some more priorities to shift some things around the studio, and then might have missed that some of the settings got tweaked in there. But some of that audio was peaking, and some of that stuff wasn't coming through. The first 2 that you missed, Riley, we have new backlights in the streaming stage. We have new tripods holding up the cameras in the studio stage. New backlights, studio stage, new desk stage, basically new tripods on the desk, new internet in the whole studio. And we're taking a pass to clean up the audio in the studio. The settings have slipped a little bit. And I mentioned earlier the personal questions are now posted in this actual post. If you want something, if you're like, whoa, I sent you a question and you put it in the personal section, but I actually meant that to be business, maybe specify. Some of these were like, I have a business question. What do you think about this business? And it's like, well, that is kind of personal because you're not really asking like, what can I expect as a patron? What is my money being used for? It's just kind of like, hey, what's your opinions about those things? So still a personal question, but if you specifically want me to address something on the show, you want to be considered business, let me know. I of course will make my decision ultimately, whether something is personal or business. But let me know what you think about that stuff being included in the post. We do have a fair bit of business. In general, Cup of Jones questions have kind of dropped off a little bit, which I dig. I do like being more focused. I don't want to finish a Cup of Jones episode and constantly be thinking like, oof, we covered a lot of stuff. I kind of want to be like, oh, very correction, the internet we already have is not cheap, but this is even less cheap. This is true. Daniel Bloodworth corrects me. There's very little about our studio now that is cheap. Everything is costs a fair bit. Obviously, and almost always, there's something more expensive we could be buying than the thing we are currently buying. But we're all about spending money here at Easy Allies. Business questions. Let's kick it off. Cheers, everybody. Shout out to everybody going to PAX West. We will not be at PAX West this year. Hopefully next year. And I know we always say that. PAX East is the one I really want to do. Get back to Boston. Business questions. Ulf himself. Some of these are left over from not last week, but the week before, because last week is a very phase 4 focused business questions group. Even with 2 weeks worth of business questions. Norbert's got to fly. There's a moth. It's a moth. It's on the ceiling, and Norbert is focused. I love watching a cat hunt. You know what I mean? You see a cat be so bored most of the time, but then you see a cat hunt, and it's just everything to them. They're like, everything clicks. They're like, this is who I was supposed to be. And now he's on the desk. Get off of my desk. What are you? Don't you climb around? What are you doing? I don't know where the moth went. I can't help you, Norbert. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's like, hi, I'm a cat. Have you seen a moth anywhere? Anybody? Anybody seen a moth? Anybody? No. Okay. Go find that moth. I don't know where it is. Ulf himself. Why spend $20 in the Q&A tier when one can ask for it here for a single $1? I know you were curious about it too. You don't give us money, so you don't get a chance to complain about it. This is a good question, and actually I had an answer prepared for it a couple weeks ago, but I think I have actually more answers for it now because we're changing. You know, we added tiers. We took our goals away. Specifically, for that $20, the reason why that is $19 more than Cup of Jones. The two main reasons. One, it's just me. A lot of, as I mentioned, moving forward, I'm going to be a lot more judicious when it comes to the questions that I ask, stuff I consider business versus personal. Basically just streamlining. You'll also notice some of you that wrote in questions, some of you are like, oh, whoa, I wrote a whole paragraph and he just read the question. I'm trimming a lot of these things, even so much to change the verbiage, because sometimes if I trim a question, you'll be like, what do you think about it? And I'll be like, what do you think about Hall of Greats? Like actually add like the pronoun or whatever. So trying to streamline the show as much as possible. So there's that. There's a chance that I might streamline your question. I might skip your question. I might answer your question very quickly. I might consider that a personal question, just to answer it in text. There's a lot of freedom I want to try to maintain in Cup of Jones moving forward when it comes to asking questions. But it was also just me. For the $20 for the Q&A, you get almost everybody. Some people, at least one ally other than Dawn, who does not do the Q&A, bow out of the Q&A every single month for whatever reasons. But you get that the banter. You know, if you watch us on Twitch, there's a chance you'll drop something in chat. One person will mention, a couple people will react. This is, for the only time we do it. This is all of the allies focused on one single question, all asking it at the same time. And one of the things that's answering it, sorry. And one of the things that's really great about the Q&A that I love is I learn stuff about the allies all the time on the Q&A. I find out things. Blood will tell a story. It's like, what? How did I know you for almost a decade, Blood? And I've never heard that story. I've never heard you bring that up. That's crazy. And so Damiani's got some fascinating stories. So I think that's the big thing for the Q&A for me, which is going to be this Saturday. We're going to have our business meeting for the month of September tomorrow, and there are Q&A on Saturday. So it is going to be a lovely time with the allies this week, even if you won't see all of that. Freeze. Maybe once a month you could do a Cup of Jones personal edition and hard limit it to one question per person to ensure it doesn't become a massive backlog of questions each month. No. Maybe. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm a super fan of the way Cup of Jones is moving forward. So I appreciate throwing out ideas like that, but if you do want Cup of Jones changed and this isn't just like, hey, maybe consider doing this, let me know. But I'm a big fan of the format moving forward. There might be random episodes of Cup of Jones. Sometimes that's happened in the past where we had a big announcement or something big happened, and I was like, I need to say something not just to our patrons but to our entire community, and so I'll make a Cup of Jones. That's short for free, just an editorial. I'll throw that up on YouTube. I'll most likely continue doing that. Be done, but those will hopefully be extra on top of the old episodes of Cup of Jones, or the patron exclusive ones. Be done 912. Do you ever worry about appealing to the new, perhaps younger audience? There's no perhaps. The audience is getting younger and younger at the cost of your longtime audience that grew up with you guys. Sure. I wouldn't say, I mean, personally, I worry about it. I can't speak for the rest of the allies. There's nothing I won't worry about when it comes to this business. But yeah, I mean, I'm 40. I got the gray hair coming in. I don't know how viable my opinions will be when it comes to games. I don't get a lot of the old man stuff. I don't see a lot of old man comments where they're just like, I don't care about these guys. These guys are old. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. I mean, this is a big topic. Like, I think Obviously, there's, I want to hear from people my age. I want to hear opinions from people my age. I want to watch people stream that are my age. Nothing we can do about that. But I always try not to, if I'm going to do dad jokes, to try to label them as such. If I am going to have an opinion that's definitely just me, like, in my day, like, I try to put on the old man voice. Like, I try to, like, at least be cognizant of the fact that I'm like, ooh, this might sound weird to some people. They might not know what I'm talking about. One interesting test for that too is some of these allies are a decade younger than me. And so it's interesting. This hasn't been posted yet, but I talked with Brad Ellis about the last D23 trailer for Star Wars Episode 9. And we talked about generations. Like we were talking about Star Wars, and it was like, is this for our generation? And then we had to clarify, like, well, wait a minute. There's your generation, there's my generation. So there is a little bit of that as well. And so that is kind of nice to get, balanced checks from the guys in terms of like, what are you talking about, Jones? And I'm like, you don't know what that Robert Redford gif was a real wake up call. I held that out to all the allies. I'm like, who is this? And they were like, no idea. I'm like, none of you know who this is. No one, all 8 people in this room do not know this is Robert Redford. Fascinating. So yeah, always thinking about that. Kyle, I don't mind but I don't know if I'd change our business to adapt to it. So, that longtime audience that grew up with you guys, I love them a lot. I don't want to upset them. Jones is basically a boomer now, says chat. Kyle, I don't mind the new paper method for voting on Hall of Greats, but the allies not being able to talk about the games they are voting for seems to defeat the purpose of the confession cam. I agree. It wasn't as entertaining, and Kyle and Huber broke the rule anyway. Would you consider letting the allies talk about what games they're voting for, but not how many points they're giving each one, or only say how many points they're giving one of their 3 picks? I don't know. This will be a group vote. That'll... I like it when we talk about what our picks are. From my understanding, before I did Hall of Greats, we were going to do paper ballots, but then still talk about the stuff we wanted to vote for, like in alphabetical order. So you wouldn't know who voted how much for what, so you wouldn't know who won at the end of the day. They might have pulled back on that a little bit when they did Hall of Greats, but I will vote for that format. That's what I thought we were doing. If I'm outvoted, that I did my best. Sarah Demones, I just finished watching the Easy Allies solo cast, and I genuinely think that EZA could benefit from a Bossman solo news show once a week in between podcast releases. This is not the only question this week and last week that asks for a Bossman solo show, which after doing the solo cast with Kyle, Kyle sent me the episode for this solo cast that he did from Germany. And I got, just made sure I had everything, the audio, made sure it was all synced up. And I messaged Kyle and I was like, okay, it looks like I got everything. It's going to work. So I don't need anything else from you. And I was like, this is kind of cool. Actually, I'm enjoying this. And Kyle was like, yeah, I know. It's like, we both agreed. Like, we're going to get a lot of comments. People are like, this is it. This is all I want. Just do this every week. I'm not necessarily asking for an hour-long podcast on top of the regular Easy Allies podcast, but for a smaller 20 to 30-minute deep dive by Kyle on a news topic from the week, or bite-sized covering multiple topics if it's a heavy news week. Kyle doesn't want to do it. End of story. Kerbu, are you open to Trailer Jones being flexible like the rest of Phase 4? Or if it's important to you that the show never deviate from its schedule and its attachment to topical trailers? Once you've established a rhythm, which I know is an endeavor in and of itself you've struggled with, why not take a slow month as an opportunity to return to the panel format, or cover old trailers that allows you to deep dive into why a specific trailer or a specific portion of a specific trailer is important to a panel or even just yourself. Totally. I will say this. I've recorded 2 episodes of Trailer Jones moving forward, and one for Cats that I sat down with Amanda and we talked about Cats, and one for this Star Wars trailer. I'm debating also maybe getting Huber together for Joker. I don't know if Joker will be relevant in like a week or two, that trailer specifically, but curious what Huber thinks about that Joker trailer. I thought it was cool, but repetitive. They keep showing. They're like, oh, look at him with the mask and the clowns. Like, this has been in every trailer. You stop it. Stop it. Don't show him with the mask put in the trash can. Stop. I've seen this shot 4 times already. Yeah, I want to get into this solo format to show why it works. I want to get people excited about Trailer Jones in a way that they know it'll be quick, which is very much not now because we're still working on the graphics. But, and then I don't necessarily think there's no such thing as a slow trailer month. I'll talk about any trailer. I don't care. Like, I don't need the trailers to be, super, view driving. Like, I need the trailers to be an interesting conversation. Like, I love talking about bad trailers. You will definitely get a solo Trailer Jones episode for a trailer that is bad. That'll happen. But post E3 probably makes sense for a panel episode. Post Maybe the beginning of the year, at the end of the year to talk about the best trailers of the year, at the beginning of the year to talk about trailer trends, which I did this last year. Like, I'll definitely shake up the format. Moving forward, I just really want to get comfortable with the new format before I start deviating from it. But I'll definitely deviate. There will be reasons to do that for sure. Alexander Zirianov, non-serious question. Suggesting a game for a group of allies to play is a $15 tier. Suggesting a game for Bloodworth to play is a $60 tier. Does this officially make Bloodworth the most valuable player of Easy Allies? Bloodworth responded to this, thanks Blood. The intention was never for Bloodpact to be just voting for a stream, which is why I've always done a write-up after, why I sometimes continue playing the game on my own before doing the write-up, and why I'm trying to add this new roundtable discussion for members. What we found, this is me speaking for Blood now, what we found is, what's interesting at a lot of our goals is we have people at our goals, they're very much at those, reward tiers. At those reward tiers, they're like, I want that benefit, I want that reward. And people that are like, no, $20 just fits into my budget, so that's why I'm here. So some people are at that Blood Pact tier that are not necessarily very involved in the Blood Pact. And so it's interesting for Blood to try to like get more value out of this tier when a lot of people in the tier are like, I'm fine. So, but yeah, there's a lot of other things that he does for that tier. And again, for the 15, for Bloodworth, again, he's living with this game for that month. There's a lot of posts around it. Whereas the $15 tier, this is just a short stream. This is just a couple of allies. Might not be a good stream either. You never know. Or those Blood Pact tiers. But Blood Pact streams are just, beautiful every time. Joku. Any chance you'd still consider playing Pokemon Crystal instead of Silver? This is not the first Pokemon request we'll have in this episode. It's the enhanced version of the latter, a director's cut of sorts. Lots of little improvements. I think the animated Pokemon sprites it adds especially make it a nicer game to look at, which would be good for the stream, in my opinion. Someone asked later on, and I will specify, somebody asked me to play some Soul Silver. It's coming up later, but we're going to play Pokemon Silver. I want to play the original, I want to play the sequel to Pokemon Red. I understand that might not factor into everyone's favorite version of this game. That might not factor into the most visually satisfying way to stream this game. Silver is what I want. I want Silver in my heart. I want to know what Silver is. I don't want to have people being like, oh, you play Pokemon. Like, cool. Did you play Red? Like, yep. Like, did you play Silver? Like, I played Crystal. It's like, that's not Silver. And like, yeah, I know. Whereas like, I'll say like, oh, I played Silver. And they'll be like, oh, cool. You should play Crystal someday. It's really fun. I'd be like, I kind of want to actually, because I played Silver. And now when I play Crystal or I play Soul Silver or I play however many remakes they're planning on doing of these games over the years, or if they do a remake in the future and I can play that, then I'll know the difference. You know, I'll know, oh, Blood adds. I really like how the new Blood Pact Roundtable is fitting in. It feels like the piece that was missing. So if you are interested in that $60 tier, it has expanded. There is now a roundtable discussion that happens after these posts. A lot of this also factors into my job. It's one of the reasons why I really loved doing retrospectives, having the time. Let me put it that way. Not doing retrospectives, having a lot of time to do retrospectives back in the day when I was mostly producing features at Game Trailers as creative director before the Defy Media days. The GTA 5 review was kind of the beginning of the end of that like retro run. It was so much fun going back and playing the original versions of these games. It was an interesting debate between Ben and me going back and forth whether if you notice, the Devil May Cry Retro primarily uses the HD remakes of those games. Where I was like, I don't know if that kind of goes against what retros are supposed to be, should be, our audience wants them to be, what we want them to be. I don't know. I definitely do appreciate a retro being entirely HD, which was nice that the Devil May Cry Retro was. But I love going back to those original games. I was really proud of the fact that when we did the Final Fantasy Retro, that I played 2 and 3 and 5 in Japanese. That when we showed them in the retro, it was in Japanese. I didn't just play the Game Boy versions and then was like, and then they made them in Japanese, but whatever. It's like, no, I went back and played those original versions of those games, which was very complicated. It was like, fire? Is that fire? Is that... Let's see, is that that's fire? That's fire. Okay, I'm gonna cast fire. That was basically me playing those games. Hi, hun.
Hi.
You want to say hi to everybody? You want to promote Ripley for a hot second?
Yeah, I haven't been in like things that aren't pajamas when you've been doing when you've been doing this stream.
Things that aren't pajamas?
Yeah, usually I'm walking around holding a baby but my mom is here.
Did you like especially curl your hair today?
No,
your hair's like super crazy curly today.
It's just natural.
I love this lady.
Hi, everybody.
I find Amanda attractive. It's a short episode. Look at this. I'm like,
oh,
next page. Like,
you want me to make it longer?
Why did I tell you that? Why did I say that out loud?
All right, give me
Brandon
three
K. Gann, what was the one
for
you-
an improv. What?
All right. So yeah, Pokemon Silver. Sorry, it's gonna be the OG, and it was interesting because I thought about that and I was like, oh yeah, should it be gold or silver? Kyle just brought up silver, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I do kind of like silver. Yeah, it's like a Lone Ranger vibes, you know? Like gold's gold's kind of snooty. Silver's like cool, you know? That's my thought. But when I first thought of that, I was like, oh, you're playing silver. And then some people messaged at me and they were like, you should play Soul Silver. You should play Crystal. You should play something else. I'm like, wait a minute. And I just messaged Kyle on Slack. I'm like, we're playing silver, right? He's like, hell yeah, we're playing silver. I was like, that's what I thought. That's what I wanted to do too. But we were both in agreement. Brandon K. Gann, what was the one decision EZA had the most discussion on? And what was the hardest decision you all came to if it's not the same decision? EZA was our decision. You all came to if it's not the same decision. You all meaning me, I guess. Getting rid of Game Sleuth was tough. We talked about maybe doing one last episode of Game Sleuth. I think Tabletop was, I could kind of see the writing on the wall there. Same thing with Game Sleuth. Countdown was like the easiest thing ever. We were like top 10. Anybody like doing this? And everyone was like, nope. So that deliberation didn't take a long time, but there's just a lot of discussion about like the way that we run this Patreon is not the way we want to have handled Game Sleuth. Basically, like we don't want to promise something. Again, it's the P word. I try not to do it on the show unless I really mean it. We try not to dangle carrots in front of you that don't exist. And so I think that was probably the biggest one. The most painful Band-Aid to rip off, I think. Faraz Rizvi, I missed the survey, but one thing I would like to see, and that's that goes the same as with me as well. I missed the survey, but one thing I would like to see is for EZA to create a proper YouTube channel with a show scheduled for every day of the week and have that as the banner for the YouTube channel. Blood, 10 steps ahead of me, and replies, aside from the banner, we've essentially had that, though things are shifting a bit with the change-up of shows. But it was Monday, Frame Trap, Tuesday, Friend Code, Wednesday, Tabletop, Thursday, Syndrome, Friday, Podcast, Saturday, Easy Update. As we get closer to launching some of the new shows, we'll probably have an eye on those Wednesday, Thursday openings. Achieve It Yourself was already going up on Thursdays, so that will probably continue. Yeah, we have had sponsorships with Studio Ghibli where we have had giveaways. Part of that is for them to take over our banner. So that banner's been changing a lot because of sponsorship opportunities. But I do like that idea. I have seen, I think Game Attack did that when they first launched. They had all their shows lined up. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I think one of the things that we struggle with, and one of the things that all of you lovely patrons, especially all of you lovely Cup of Jones patrons, have mentioned a lot is you allies need to consider what it's like for a new patron coming into this whole thing, a new audience member, somebody who's not even giving you money, somebody who's just finding your channel for the first time. That's why we need to revise our promos. That's why we need to have shorter shows. That's why we need to promote Patreon more. That's why there's a lot of these things all factor into that. I have never discovered you before. We are getting a tremendous amount of traction on our Control review. Well, a lot of the comments, people are like, these are good reviews. It's like, yeah, where have you been? Like, you've been away from our reviews for a very long time. You know, we've been advertising these things, but you never know with YouTube, like whose eyeballs your work is getting in front of. And so every review we produce is another great opportunity to get, seen by a bunch of new people. And I think if people come to youtube.com/EasyAllies, they see that schedule on the banner. It's a great way to be like, I get it. I get what this is. I get who these guys are. Because they see reactions, like, is that all you got? Oh, they got reviews. Oh, do you just do reviews and reactions? Oh, they got event coverage. Okay, I guess they do those. And like, oh, well, there's a couple podcasts. Like, what's going on? Yeah, anything we can do to clarify that. But again, Blood was saying for us, like, it might be a little bit before we get to even being able to do that. But I definitely see the benefit in it. I could bring that up to the rest of the allies. And actually, let me put that in takeaways. I didn't put that in a takeaway. That's a takeaway. Let me put it in there. Boom. Scroll. Aussie Wieland. I was so sure it was going to be the Mass Effect trilogy, me playing Pokemon. Silver was my favorite Pokemon game, but Mass Effect has the potential to be a more interesting stream, in my opinion. Yes, I don't know who would play that with me. I probably should do that solo if I play Mass Effect one day. Waiting for that remaster. Come on, I'm waiting. Let's do it. BioWare. I'm here. I'm ready. Let's do it. Remaster that puppy. Straw Hat Ninja. I was wondering, that doesn't mean the moment that they announce a remaster, I'm going to start playing it like the next week. I'm just, one of the things I'm waiting on. Straw Hat Ninja. Because it seems so logical, right? Seems like it's like going to happen, right? I mean, those games are big. Who knows? BioWare's in trouble. Who knows? Straw Hat Ninja. I was wondering how you guys decide if a specific streamer show is successful. I know you probably don't worry about how many views a stream gets. Sure we do. But does that factor into a show if a show continues or gets canceled? Views factor into everything. They just don't factor as much as they used to back at Game Trailers. Thank you, patrons, for making all of that a reality. I mostly watch your content when it appears on YouTube, so I'm always worried if I'm not showing support to a show or stream by not watching it live. If we cancel a show, you didn't do anything wrong. If we cancel a show, it is not your fault as a viewer. Doesn't necessarily mean it's our fault. Might be. Might be something that we thought would work and didn't. But views factor in. Like when we talked about shows that we were canceling during Phase 4, we mentioned how it was doing. We were aware of the traffic of how well it was doing. And for a lot of the stuff that we kept too, we kept because it was doing well. It's always good to not necessarily have a sense of it mostly factors into growth. So we don't necessarily look at a video and say, okay, this podcast is doing this, whereas this other podcast from this other channel that we like very much is doing this. Therefore, our podcast isn't good and we shouldn't continue doing it because it isn't earning as much as a competitor. Whereas if a show kind of plateaus in a good way, if a show plateaus at a number that we like and it's consistent, that's a good sign. If traffic is growing for something, that's a good sign. I'll definitely be looking at the views of the 3-person panel episodes of Trailer Jones versus the solo trailer audio mostly version episodes of Trailer Jones. Hopefully I get a little boost there. Definitely going to be going into the comments and seeing if people are like, hey, I just discovered this channel because of the show, or hey, what's this Trailer Jones thing? What's this Easy Allies thing? So that's a good sign. But it's just one factor of many factors. And I don't think has ever really been the most important factor. Definitely wasn't Game Trailers, but not so much. Correct me if I'm wrong, Blood. Oninaki got similar comments too, says Blood. People gave some really great compliments for Brad, who seemingly never watched us before. I do have days of the week that shows post in the playlist's title on the YouTube homepage. There we go. So if you go to the YouTube homepage, you can see days of the week that the shows post. Nice. Thanks, Blood. VG Junkie. Did you guys ever consider periodic solo top 10s, top XXs, top 10s he means, or top 5s or whatever, or other short form opinion pieces? You prevent burnout because it doesn't become some weekly or monthly obligation, and you could end up rotating in a way that you might have to do like one per year, if that. Looking at your content lineup, I'm still noting that there's a gap in newcomer friendly stuff, but maybe the seasonal stuff will help. It definitely will. There's definitely some fun shows that we were like, hey, we're announcing this thing. We'll do it in like October. People are like, oh, well, great. Like, sorry about that. Sorry that occasional board game is not done yet. Sorry that some of these shows have not premiered yet. And there's other stuff that will be happening end of 2019, beginning of 2020. But again, the fear of doing an opinion piece, and I know this will sound extreme. I know you'll be like, God, really? But like, trust me, like this comes from the heart. Even once a year, the idea that it's like, oh, it's coming up in August. Jones, you got to write about something very poignant that is important to you, that comes from the heart, and make it authentic in August. Go. And like, I don't know. I was gonna say how much I want a Telltale to come back, but oops, you know what I mean? Like say you're like, oh, I'm in October. Well, I got my opinion ready to go. I know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about, this company. And then like 2 months after you had that idea, the company folded, and now you got to produce a video in 2 weeks. You're like, I don't like, so it's like, if you have a solo YouTube channel, if I am in control of my own YouTube channel, you are going to twitch.tv/Brandon Jones. You're going to get editorials from me all the time. Like because it's just me. I don't have to back my, somebody correcting me on an opinion later. I don't have to have somebody come in on the team and be like, I disagree with you. So I don't know if that was necessarily the best thing to do on your show or your stream or whatever. There are 9 of us. And so it's like doing anything opinion based is scary and is even though we would potentially solo this and be like, oh, well, you just do solo top 10. So that one person comes in and handles everything. Well, they don't handle everything because someone's got to cut it. Someone's got to shoot it. Someone's got to, like if that's being planned and shot in the studio, we got to work around that schedule. And so it's just tough. It's tough to commit to something like that and then have everybody jump on board, have everybody be available, have everybody meet the same. Look at Hall of Greats. We've had complaints recently in Hall of Greats with how everyone does different things. It's like every time somebody gets a chance to pitch their game, they do a different thing. I don't think some are taking it seriously. Some don't seem to be taking it seriously. But it's like we would go through the same exact stuff with an opinion show. They'd be like, what? Brad did an opinion. What was that opinion? And it's like, like, let's just not do that. Let's just stay away from that. And then if you tune into our podcasts, you'll get plenty of opinions. If you tune into other things, you'll get lots of hot takes, literally in some cases. So, yeah, just something that we're like, that's messy. That's going to be hard to do consistently. And inevitably we will run into a problem. We will run into someone who's like, I don't feel comfortable with my opinion anymore. I want to take off that episode because I've changed my mind. It doesn't necessarily come into a factor isn't necessarily a factor when we have our podcasts, when we share opinions the way that we do currently at Easy Allies, but having an opinion-based show. I had this idea. I brought this up to the Allies. I was like, what if we had a 10-minute opinion show? You write an opinion piece, give it to me, I will voice it, I will cut it, I will produce the episode. And people were like, doesn't sound like something I want to do. It's like, that doesn't sound like I have opinions. I have hot takes. I've done lots of Jones rants. I still am very nervous about producing a show like that. Hot take, Ian sets the air conditioning too low. It's true. Ian, I told Ian, I was like, California says 76. This is as low as your thermostat should go. Ian's like, 76? I was like, yes. We are having power issues. This planet is dying. Turn your thermostats up. Sony Laguna. No matter how anyone puts it, a cup of Kyle would benefit a lot, I think. His special personality and his views fit a solo show perfectly. It doesn't have to be overproduced and can be like Kyle's 15 or something. Or Bossman's weekly update. Or just commenting on whatever comes to mind. You guys don't need to reinvent the wheel. Me personally, I just stick to the podcast Cup of Jones and Huber Syndrome because these are easily digestible. He doesn't want to do it. It's as simple as that, folks. You're going to get that answer every single time. Every single time. Cup of Kyle. He doesn't want to do it. Bossman's weekly update. No interest. Kyle's 15. Not gonna make any headway there. Doesn't want to do it. Revol. I also recommend more content and keep in mind, I will say this. I'm being very short with this answer because it's as simple as that. But I will add that we at our meeting, Ian was the one that was like, hey, I'm a broken record with this, but every time we meet and we talk about what would change our business, I'm going to bring this up every time. If we did Final Bossman, it would explode. It would explode. And Kyle's like, I know. And he's like, I'm just putting that out there. He's like, I will support you. Ian's like, I will meet with you. I will cut that show. I will shoot it. I will do whatever it takes. I will handle all of the heavy lifting for you. And Kyle's like, I appreciate that. Not something I want to do. Revol. I'd also recommend more content like top 10s or videos like Kyle rating Spidey suits to release content that isn't part of any recurring schedule, one-off videos that grab a hold of the current zeitgeist. For example, when Link's Awakening comes out, Damiani releases a video going over some of his favorite music off older Zelda soundtracks, a little something that can serve as an introduction to Easy A. Totally. And again, it's that magical 10-minute somebody talking about stuff video. I want to do more of those. It's funny because me versus Ian on the issue is literally Florida versus Minnesota. It's kind of predictable. Or Wisconsin. Yeah, they're all cold. Yes, those can serve as introductions to Easy A. Those would help us. Kyle rating Spidey suits completely blew up. We should do more stuff like that. Obviously more focused on getting all of our current shows up and running. And then same thing with Trailer Jones. Want to do regular episodes of Trailer Jones. And then we'll get creative. Asbo Zapruder. If Easy Allies Phase 4 was a musical, what musical would it be? Rent. Daniel Garza Andrade, or How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Both of those apply. Rent's a little dramatic, but get it? Rent, paying rent in studio, rent. Daniel Garza Andrade, when the time comes, will you be willing to do unboxings of the new consoles, like the unboxing of the Switch, meaning for Stadia, whatever it is, Project Scarlet and PS5? Yes. Unboxings would be good. We did an unboxing of the old Switch. That was Damiani's idea. Damiani's like, I'm coming to your garage. We are unboxing the Switch. I was like, oh, cool. We will be in the studio a lot more. It would make sense if we were to do something like that. We would like to do it. Daniel, one of the issues is we don't know when we're getting that console. When we get the console, we don't know if we'll be able to unbox it. We might have to review something on it and unbox it first. You know what I mean? Like we're no control over when we get those and what's going on. So that would be great. Can't make promises. Kristen Rogers jumping in. with an astute observation. I talked with Damiani about this back in January, but I haven't seen any updates about this since. When you got the new streaming graphics, I asked about the rest of the Twitch graphics being updated so it all matches, such as the profile icon and the small graphics for the info below the stream. Most importantly, though, the offline image says that you're offline and to check below for the schedule when there is no schedule below the stream any longer, and there hasn't been for quite some time. With the Phase 4 changes having a focus on more group streams, I'm wondering why this still hasn't been updated, especially as it's been brought up several times since you got the new stream graphics. Question mark. Bloodworth responds, the stream intro doesn't replace our main logo, so I think that should remain the same in the profile icon, etc. We are working on some new graphic elements for Twitch, but there's a bit of a backlog at the moment. However, the language of the offline image is definitely an oversight, so we'll try to fast track that one in particular. So yeah, definitely shouldn't say check out the schedule. Check out the schedule on easyallies.com maybe. But yeah, Kristen bringing down the graphic hammer. I appreciate it. So yeah, I don't know if that has been addressed, but I will bring that up. That is in takeaways. I'll message that to Damiani. If Blood has not done it already. Beaten Down Brian. While I enjoy full playthroughs, could having multiple ones, which take place over weeks/months, be limiting the size of the audience that attend those streams live? Of course. That's always that's the great wheel. I don't know. What is the great needle? I don't know. If we do less full playthroughs, people ask for full playthroughs. If we do more full playthroughs, then obviously that somebody jumps in and is like, oh, I don't like Pokemon. So it's just a simple no for me. And, next week, oh, they're still doing Pokemon. Well, I can cross this time slot off the calendar for me with Easy Allies until the foreseeable future if they decide to stream something else. That is the give and take. And we are aware, but thank you for bringing that up, just in case we weren't. Samuel Rosman back right after E3 during the award stream. You opened a care package with a few Star Wars prizes and a quick competition rule set. Did that happen already? No. And to be perfectly honest, Samo, I do not recall that stream. I don't know if you know this, but right after E3, I had a child. So it's all very fuzzy. But no, we didn't do a special stream. I'm not sure what prizes those were. Maybe Blood can clarify. But that didn't happen already. And, it's worth saying here, if you send in something that you're like, hey, here's a little game for you guys to play. There's no promise we're going to do that. It's like we're not going to jump through hoops if people send us trinkets. Like, we appreciate that. And it is a wonderful idea and a wonderful sentiment. But just because, you send us things doesn't necessarily, we're not like obligated to use them for something else. We definitely appreciate all the gifts that we get from people, but that's a slippery slope. We don't want to be like, haha, now I'm going to send you this high priced thing. Now do this. Matt Brookbank, will you do another survey in the future? Probably. If so, do you have any hint as to how often you'll test the Patreon's temperature? Annually, semi-annual, on every fourth phase? No idea. This was something we talked about for a long time, and it just seemed like the right time to do it. So if we feel that, if we get a sense that we think we're getting close to that point, that's got to be something that we just feel from producing the stuff that we normally produce. We could maybe get this under an hour. That is so awesome. But yeah, we will do another survey in the future. Can't promise if it would even be in 2020 because we got a pretty good sense of where we need to be for next year. And we even have other ideas that we haven't gotten into yet for 2020 and feel pretty good about it. So it might be 2021 when you get your next survey. So if you have more opinions, save them or throw them at us in Q&As and streams. Pokey Clyde, when on Friday can we expect the podcast? Typically, what time will it be up for patrons? Same time as the previous podcast. So it's changing days, not changing times. Kyle is the one that posts that, though. So if there's an issue with time, address that to me and I'll pass it on to Kyle, or you can reach out to Kyle directly if you're like, hey, post that earlier. Alex, you said on the most recent, final question, on the most recent Cup of Jones that you plan to play Pokemon Silver on Thursday streams with Kyle. Is there any reason why you're not playing Soul Silver instead? We've talked about this, but thank you for the question, Alex. It's by far the best version of the game, has countless improvements, and is regarded by most as the best entry in the series. As well as the improvement, controls, and more fleshed out story, the visuals are vastly improved, making it a more pleasurable experience for Twitch viewers as well as yourself. I presume that when people have been recommending you play Silver, most probably mean Soul Silver. It is tough because both of these questions that have posed us playing something other than the original Silver have offered that this updated version might look a little better, might be better for Twitch. Wink, wink. I hear you, but at the same time, what you lose is me appreciating this old game. Me going back to the 90s and being like, oh man, like what would this have looked like on the Game Boy Color? And I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully hopefully the both will be fine. Hopefully like you get the updated sprites, that makes it better visually for me. But if you don't get the updated sprites, that means hopefully it'll make the conversation more interesting. I'll have more questions for Kyle. Like, whoa, look at the way this looks. And Kyle will be like, yeah, and actually in Soul Silver, they changed it. Like, oh, that's interesting. I'll make a promise here. I will actually make a promise, and I will do my best to stick to this during the stream. Hold me to it. Hold me accountable if I do not. I promise I will never say, we should have played Soul Silver, or, should have played Crystal. This game looks like crap. I will love that game to death. I will never complain about it. I will never say we should have played a different version. I will never complain about the graphics. I will say that they should have improved Silver from Red. I'll be like, I would have thought going from Red to Silver, they would have evolved this. But I will never complain that we're playing the wrong version of the game. Promise. Takeaways. Keep the confession cam descriptions in Hall of Greats, which I agree with, but we'll see how that vote goes. Make sure to do unboxings of the new Switch, Stadia, and next-gen consoles if we have that opportunity to. Update the stream graphics, especially change the offline screen, and put the schedule on the YouTube banner, if we can, in the future. If we get around to having a consistent schedule that we know we can maintain. We have some stuff that kind of alternates every week, so the schedule will have to be pretty dense. But there we go. 50 minutes. We did an episode of Cup of Jones. I didn't have to take away any questions. I put all the personal questions up in the post, so they are there if you're curious about learning more about me. It is in the Patreon post, but we will do an editorial today. It'll be a very short editorial, and it is inspired by a question from Kola Aina. For Twitch, we now have a placeholder offline graphic plus the schedule graphic both. Nice. We did it. Takeaways. Checked off in real time. Yeah, let me take a sip, and we'll do this very quick. Unboxing Stadia, like boot up the app. Yeah, I guess. I think he mentioned in the post, he was like, or whatever that is. He's like, Stadia, whatever it is. Meaning for Stadia, whatever it is. I was like, that might not work. Who knows? Just don't forget about this. Don't you forget about unboxings. Let's do an editorial. Hi, I'm Brandon Jones. So yeah, new format for Cup of Jones, new, hopefully version of Cup of Jones, this Monday. Stay tuned. Excited about that. Long time coming. Kola asks a very important question that'll be very pertinent moving forward with Cup of Jones. I know Cup of Jones is focused more on business, but could we get the semi-annual Milo update? So I came out of paternity leave, 2 weeks ago. I don't know if Amanda ever went on maternity leave. Amanda's been back. She was working yesterday. She's working this week. So I've been back, quote unquote back. So this editorial I want to serve for two reasons. One, to give you a Milo update, and two, to give you like a Brandon update, just kind of like what's going on with me. Next week Cup of Jones will look and play a little bit differently than it has in the past. And so I just kind of want to like hit the ground running and have this be the new version of Cup of Jones moving forward. But this is a good opportunity for me to talk about me and just how I'm doing. I'm tired. It's crazy that I got like 5 hours of sleep last night, and I'm like, 5 hours. Woo. Not in a row. Collectively, it was like 3.5 plus 1 plus a half an hour. It's like that 5. Semi-annual Milo update. Sorry. How am I doing, Jones? Asks Screaming Argonaut. I'm doing okay. I want to get stuff done. I want to get, we announced a lot of stuff for phase 4. I want to get those phase 4 things done. I feel bad that we made some promises we haven't kept yet, but, lots of exciting stuff is happening. And I think more important, it was off topic already in this editorial, something that I've noticed lately, the allies are really happy. That Tuesday night Wreckfest stream was so good. I'll mention this in the next episode of Cup of Jones too, but next Tuesday is Man of Medan, baby. Next Tuesday, Man of Medan, full playthrough. So excited about that. But I really feel an excitement and energy, an enthusiasm amongst the allies. There's not like, oh, I'm going to be in the studio more. It's like, yes. It's like all the guys are loving being around each other. And it was so bizarre showing up at like 5 for the group stream and then just walking in, be like, hi guys. Then we hung out and talked, and then we did the group stream, and then I left at like 8:30. That was very, very strange. So it's going to take a while to get us, for us to get used to these new schedules, for some of these shows to get updated. We're bringing back Don't Skip in a bigger way, and I have 2 Don't Skips I really want to produce. One of them I've already started writing the script and playing the game. So lots of stuff I want to do. So I'm kind of like, I feel like stuck a little bit. I know we've talked about this previously on Cup of Jones, but like I view life as a wheel. It's how I think about meditation and anxiety, where sometimes the wheel is going really fast and you're like, oh, this is like E3, where you're just like, nope, too fast, too fast, too fast. I need this wheel to slow down. And so I get anxiety because I don't have the time to produce the things I want to produce. I don't have the time to really think about things and make informed, educated decisions about things. It's just life's going too fast. And then you get stressed because it's go too fast. You can also get stressed because it's going too slow. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, where it's like I want things to move faster. Part of the core of this business is the fact that we tell you about things that we're going to do. You help us, feature those things, whether even if you're just watching our stuff on YouTube and Twitch, because we do, that is a substantial a part of our budget. But primarily, if you fund us, you get your reward tiers, and your benefits for following us on Patreon. And then we communicate to you what we're going to do, and then we do it. And we're just in this really we're not in the time period where it's like we're doing those things. We're talking about them a lot. We're developing them a lot. We're introducing them a lot. And it is kind of a slow procedural process, and just a tad bit frustrating for me. But I want it to be over. Let me put it that way. I want us to get past this stuff. I want to show you what a new episode of Trailer Jones looks like. I want to update Cup of Jones. I want these things to be done already. Speaking of the boy, so we haven't posted a lot of images on social media, but here's a little cool quick media update on how all of the members of the family are dealing with little baby Milo. For those of you that are doing the math, Milo was born on June 21st, so he is 2 months old technically, but as far as a gestational development, as far as him actually being a bebe, he's only 2 weeks old because he was supposed to be born on August 15th. So even though we have been taking care of this child for 2 months, he's still just, that's him, and you'll see it. This Milo you're about to see, that's Milo, baby. Every grin he has can probably be chalked up to gas. Every moment where you think you're actually connecting with him, he's actually looking at an object that's past your head. Like, we're almost there. We're almost there to really getting a genuine, he hasn't giggled yet. Let me put it that way. But he still is a cute little bugger. Look at this guy. So there's Dad with Milo. He's wearing a shirt that says Hunk on it. Amanda wanted to get this picture because, and apologies people just listening to the audio versions of Cup of Jones. I'm showing photographs. You're not seeing them. Maybe go and check out the video version if you want to see these photographs. But there's a little boy, looking ahead at the future, and I am, with him looking ahead at his future. Very promising. There's this kind of like lost, confused, I need some milk in a half an hour expression on his face. That's pretty constant. And then, I think I'm doing an okay job as a dad, but obviously, Mom is really just killing it there. She's really just, you can see the comfort that she has around the child. You can see the enthusiasm that she has around being a mother. You can see, just the bond, really. You see this bond between Milo and her. Milo and I get along, but, Milo and Amanda really do have a special relationship, and you can really see it represented there. But nobody in this house, I think, is more focused, more attentive of Milo needs than Sophie. You can see she's really, really focused. So this is Milo. He's on his little playpen there, and Sophie is exacting her ownership. So she's got the paw up. She's got a little too close to the crotch there, Sophie, but she's got the paw up on the leg. And it's basically Sophie saying, just in case anybody needs to know, this kid is mine. I own this kid. I am responsible for this kid. And there you go. There's the fam. We're all doing well. There we are. There's a really great moment the other day where Sophie does this thing that cracks me up that I noticed like right when we first got her, where and just for dogs in general, it's a fascinating thing to notice. Always look for when you can see the whites of their eyes. But when you see a dog kind of look, it means the dog is looking at something but not turning its head towards the thing. And that's an interesting behavioral thing with dogs. Some person in this audience might be a dog member and might be a dog expert and be like, you're wrong about that, Jones, but cool theory. But I've noticed that sometimes Sophie will turn her face and will look directly at you, and sometimes you'll get this, and so it's like there's kind of a trepidation with Sophie. There's like, I don't want to really cause attention to this, but I am focused on it. Like, you're not noticing that I'm looking at that, are you? That's kind of like the mood that I get from Sophie. And Sophie, because we have the in-laws in town, they're back in town. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, they're staying in the garage. And at 6 a.m., they get up very early. At 6 a.m., they come in and they beep, beep. They open up the side door and they come in I can hear the keypad beeping. So I'm like, oh, here's my guardian angel to take the baby so I can go back to bed. And what's fun is Sophie has been staying with them. And so Sophie will come in the morning at 6 a.m. And it's fun when I'm in the when I'm in the nursery, because I can hear her check each spot where I might be. So I can hear her come in and like check the couch, check the desk, and then come around the corner, and then she kind of pokes her head in the nursery, and oh, there he is, and she comes in and looks at me, and she's gotten used to the fact that I can't pet you, Sophie, because I got his head in one hand and a bottle in the other hand, but good morning, it's good to see you, Sophie. And she came in the other day and she looked at me, and so here's Milo. Milo's over here, long story short. So Milo's here. So Sophie comes in just like, hey, how are you doing? I had a great sleep last night. Hi, how are you? Or she did like the eyes. Just like, how's he? Is he okay? Is the baby okay? Okay, fine. And then she left. But not the head turn. I just love the eyes. How's that thing. I'm just like, the baby's fine. Don't worry about it, Sophie. So Sophie's very attentive. Amanda's very happy. I'm not getting sleep, but I'm healthy and shaved today. So things are going well. And boom, 1 hour Cup of Jones. We did it. And we're in it right now. This is the time to ask questions. This is when I think people would be really, attentive, really like, you announced phase 4 and this was very confusing. I demand answers, Brandon Jones. I don't know if people are like, I'm going to ease off on him because he's kind of still on like pseudo post paternity leave. He's still transitioning in. But it feels good to get Cup of Jones down to a manageable level. Feels good to be more business focused. Feels good to implement things, get feedback from you, kind of find that middle ground. I've got a lot of sentiments from people who did not specifically ask questions, but people were like, hey, you know what? I really like top 10s. That sucks. I love Tabletop Escapades. This is one of my favorite things that you guys did. And I think Game Sleuth was really good for you, and I think it was a really, really great show. Sucks to lose those, but I understand and I support you. I love you. Thank you so much. That's such a big deal. It's so important to us, for you to be honest. And those comments, even though those don't come up on Cup of Jones, even though I'm not addressing people specifically by name that leave those comments, that means the world to us. That really is nice to check in with people that they're like, hey, I can't get everything I want out of this. We had a comment in the last episode of Cup of Jones from someone, Daniel Ribeiro? No. Miguel Rivas? No, I don't know. Somebody. Who said, hey, you canceled all my favorite shows. And like, I'm so sorry. I want this channel. I want this, Patreon to be everything for everybody, but it can't be. And so some people have had to make adjustments, and love and respect to all of you, more on the love side, because you support us and we really appreciate that. That is this week's Cup of Jones. I will be back on Monday. I've said that for 2 weeks now and didn't pull it off. It's looking much more than the last 2 weeks that I will be able to do that. One of the reasons that I missed this last Monday for Cup of Jones was that I'm cutting reviews. And the thing about reviews that was really interesting is I've been kind of stressed coming back to work and having the schedule change up and handing Amanda off. Keep in mind, anytime you see me on camera, Amanda's babysitting, like Amanda's like on baby duty. And so I'm trying to lessen that. The Man of Medan stream on Tuesday, I won't be there for the whole time, for example. I might not be. I don't know. I don't want to make promises, and I don't want to spend too much time in the studio because I'm spending time away from Milo, which obviously I want to spend time with my kid, but I also want to relieve Amanda from all of the duties that she has. Reviews are a great way to do that. And I actually kind of started to phase out of cutting reviews, and Ian and Don started to step in a little bit more and help out with that. And on Monday, I cut the review for Control. And on Tuesday, I cut the review, well, technically Sunday night. And then Monday night, I cut the review for Onanaki, which went up on Tuesday. And I really enjoyed that. I really felt productive. I really felt like I was helping out. I was getting a lot done. I was, kind of like justifying my involvement in this company, if you will, which might sound silly, but to me is a big deal because so much is changing in my life and so much is changing in the business. And so I really liked cutting both of those. And so I, talked to Don and I talked to Ian and talked to Blood and talked to all the guys who write scripts. And I'm like, give me the reviews, bring them to me. Like I might not be on a lot of episodes in Frame Trap. I probably won't be on Fiasconauts until 2020. I probably won't be on Friend Code for a while. A lot of things I'm going to miss out on. The stream team, I'm probably not going to be involved in. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to see that I'm just not around because it's hard for me to get to the studio, but I am still working for this company. I'm still, I'm writing our promo script right now. I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes, and reviews really, really fit in well with that. And so that's frustrating as a viewer, potentially frustrating as a fan, because you're like, I would rather have you be on camera than producing more things off camera. Fits really well into my life now to be doing those things. And so excited moving into a September, October, November, really heavy, dense man, there's some good games coming out. Like can't wait to cut that Death Stranding review. Like a lot of great games coming out, a lot of great reviews coming to our YouTube channel from Easy Allies. And so I want to be more involved in that. So I think I'll be doing more of those moving forward. A little life update from Jones. So apologies if I'm on the podcast and streams and stuff like that. I appreciate you wanting me to be, but there will still be other things for you to check out. Kind of the same thing with how the Trailer Jones format. It's just so much easier for me to do once those graphics are done. Man, I'm going to be banging out. So I want to get to the point where Blood messages. This is my goal. It's my goal for Trailer Jones to have Blood message me and be like, stop producing episodes of that show. It's too many. I'm like, oh, okay. But there's just so many trailers, so much more to talk about. Cheers, everybody. We'll talk about more stuff on Monday in just a couple days. We'll be back with a brand new episode of Cup of Jones, and then we'll see if we can keep it to an hour. It was nice being an hour. That's it. Go home. It's over. Cheers, everybody. Take care. Have a good weekend.